Jackson Dart have to do to save Brian Daboll's job?
Well, first of all, he has to look better than average. He has to look impressive. It has to be the kind of look that he gives off, fellas, that gives an indication that he's being developed. You understand that where you can look at him and his skill set and say, okay, Brian Daboll is having a positive impact on them. Of course, you have to see the team collectively feed off of his energy, his adrenaline, and that from the Giant faithful out there, where your defense shows up and be a bit respectable. But most importantly than that, you've got a stud in Malik Nabry. You've got another one. You just got Wan'Dale Robinson can ball too. The combination of those two, if they're really excelling and they're raving about their quarterback and they're thriving, then those things could lead towards Daboll being saved. It's a lot to ask. It's a lot to expect. But it is possible it can happen if you got a quarterback that goes out there that's saying, listen, it wasn't about the coach. It was about who was playing quarterback. I'm here now, so you don't have nothing to worry. You don't have much to worry about.
But we know what Russell is at this point. Like, we know what it is. We don't know what Jackson Dart is. And so, and I don't want to hear this. Well, I mean, you don't want to put him out there to be a piñata. Stop. The Giants have a great left tackle, and I think their O-line over the last 2 years, they've upgraded it. Number two, they have a couple of really interesting young running backs. Number three is they have a number one receiver. Number four is this isn't like the tone-deaf offense of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Brian Daboll got Daniel Jones to the playoffs. Okay, I don't want to hear if you like Brian Daboll. He got Daniel Jones to the playoffs. Okay, he can coach. So we got an offensive coach, a great left tackle, a number one weapon. Running backs are interesting. O-line is not a disaster. He's not going to take a beating, plus the kid can move. And here's the other thing. He got 41 college starts with Lane Kiffin in the best defensive conference in college football, the one Jaden Daniels came from. And Lane Kiffin has coached in the NFL and could absolutely be a head coach in the NFL again if he wanted to. Lane is a really good offensive coach. If you get 41 starts in the best defensive conference with NFL receivers, and you play with NFL guys and against NFL guys, you're ready to play in college. This is not Anthony Richardson, who we don't even know if, I mean, he...
There was a time not long ago when Russell Wilson was treated like a savior. The veteran quarterback, a Super Bowl champion who once carried entire franchises on his back, landed in East Rutherford carrying the desperate hopes of a broken fan base begging for stability and a hero. The Giants had been wandering in the dark. Daniel Jones had collapsed under the pressure. The team needed someone to believe in, and for a while, Russ gave them that. Week after week, Wilson walked onto the field with his trademark calm. His smile lit up the locker room. His speeches fired up teammates. His confidence gave them life. But in the NFL, hope dies fast. Just 9 days before he was benched, Wilson threw for 450 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Cowboys. It was vintage Russ, the kind of night that should have silenced critics. And still, it didn't matter. The Giants lost. And in New York, losing makes you expendable. The whispers started. Head coach Brian Daboll made his move. He benched a future Hall of Famer for a rookie, Jackson Dart, kid barely known outside draft nerd circles with raw talent and fire but no proof. Daboll wasn't building for the future. He was trying to save his own job, and he was betting on Dart to do it. The news shook the locker room. Russell Wilson benched, captain. A legend, reduced to holding a clipboard. Publicly, Wilson played it classy. He smiled, told reporters he loved the organization, promised to help the team win. He shook Dart's hand, whispered advice in his ear, posed for cameras. But behind closed doors, the storm was brewing. Russell Wilson has always been defined by belief. Belief in his team, belief in his process, belief in himself. But as days dragged on, that belief clashed with an ugly reality. The Giants were 0-3. The offense was garbage. Fans flew banners over MetLife, screaming for answers. The media tore the franchise apart. And inside the building, players started whispering, maybe Dart isn't ready. Maybe Russ has to come back. Wilson sat in film sessions, biting his tongue as Dart missed reads he would never miss. He stood on the sideline on Sundays, helmet strapped, eyes locked on the field, desperate to jump in. With every snap, one truth became harder to deny. Russell Wilson wasn't done. At 36, he still had gas left. He still had the fire. And he wasn't about to rot on the bench waiting for a shot that might never come. That's when it hit him. Russell Wilson wasn't going to fade quietly. He wasn't going to play backup mascot. He was going to demand a trade. Inside Joe Schoen's office, his voice was calm, but his words cut like steel. I came here to lead, Joe. I came here to win. But if you don't believe in me, if this organization is ready to move on, then let me go. Trade me. Send me somewhere that still wants a quarterback who delivers. It wasn't anger. It wasn't bitterness. It was conviction. Wilson pointed at the league 5 teams rolling with backups. The Bengals without Joe Burrow. The Falcons scrambling after Cousins' exit. The Steelers drowning in mediocrity. Teams that needed a leader. Teams that needed him. For years, Wilson had been nothing but professional. Now, this was his line in the sand. The news spread like wildfire. Wilson wanted out. Suddenly, the Giants were split down the middle. Veterans like Dexter Lawrence and Saquon Barkley respected Dart, but they loved Russ. They knew he brought poise, experience, that clutch gene you can't teach. Younger guys rallied behind Dart, eager to start a new era. The tension was suffocating. Every practice rep became a headline. Every sideline glance was gossip fuel. The Giants weren't just fighting opponents anymore. They were fighting each other. For fans, it was déjà vu. Another QB circus. Another headline disaster. The same fans who once celebrated Wilson's arrival were now split down the middle. Russ still has it. No, Dart is the future. The Giants are a mess. More banners flew. Mara, fix this disaster. New York media swarmed like vultures. Would Wilson land in Cincinnati? Would Pittsburgh bite? Would Minnesota, desperate for a steady QB, make a move? The drama exploded across the NFL. Russell Wilson's whole career has been about resilience. A third-round pick who wasn't supposed to make it. A too small QB who carried Seattle to a Super Bowl. A fighter who survived Denver's chaos. And now this. In interviews, Wilson chose his words carefully. I'm not done. I believe in myself. I've got more football left. But his eyes told the real story. This was a man refusing to be dismissed. Convinced his best chapters hadn't even been written. The trade deadline loomed like a storm cloud. Every week darts started, Wilson's New York clock ticked away. The Giants faced a brutal choice: keep Russ and risk a fractured locker room, or cut him loose and admit the experiment failed. The NFL is no place for patience, it's a league of moments. And Wilson had forced the Giants into a moment that could define their future. For him, it wasn't just about a trade. It was about legacy. He didn't want to be remembered as another washed-up cube riding out his twilight years. He wanted one more chance to prove he could still win, still lead, still silence the doubters. So the question burned: would the Giants honor his request or hold him hostage in the name of development? Cameras caught him on the sideline, helmet in hand, eyes burning a hole through the field. That body language told the whole truth. He wasn't finished. He wasn't a backup. He was waiting for his next shot. The clock ticked toward the deadline. Whispers of offers grew louder, and Wilson's future hung in the balance. He came to New York to lead. Now, he might leave just to survive. The demand was made. The ball is in the Giants' court, and the NFL world is watching.